Yes, indeed, powerful people. This is another episode of Breaking the Machine. I'm your host, Ahmad DePort, alongside my partner, Spank the Bank.
What up, though?
And today we'll be taking another incremental step and shifting the culture. Now, today is a very special episode, backed by popular demand. We got David back on the show with us, David McCullar. How you doing today, King?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man.
Great.
Came to break some machines today, man.
Let's keep breaking them.
Yeah, it's a lot to get to. I think it's been a running trend from these last two episodes, just really talking about depression, especially with like the youthful generation, the young generation. It seems like it's been a rise in depression. I don't know the statistics, but I hear people talking about it more and more. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, around what age do you see stressors start to pop up in children? Because a lot of parents say, children don't have stress. They don't have issues. You ain't got no...
What age? Before you even born. When you're in the womb. You're in the womb when you're picking up your mother's stress hormones, right? So before you're born, you're starting to pick it up. That idea that, something happened when you were younger and you forgot about it. Or you're too young to remember this. The body not. The body records all that. The body keeps the score of it all. So you're never too young. So kids can start feeling these stressors just from, let's say that a kid is, crying. Well, if you leave that kid to just cry, where you basically see, we as human beings, we teach safety through action. If you're crying, I'm gonna go pick you up and do what? Spank got a baby. If the baby gets sitting there and crying and you don't go to soothe that baby, what happens?
She get louder.
That baby cannot regulate itself. The parent is there to co-regulate, to help the baby to regulate down. That's all. Everything you hear me talk about in trauma and all that, well, that's a trauma right there if the baby can't get soothed back into a normalized state of being, relaxation. So it happens at a young age, but maybe it's not to the point where the baby or the kid is like, yo, I feel sad. But you can see the mood, right? So you can see those things. I mean, you can even see it in animals. So this idea that, we have to have a consciousness about what depression is in order for we to feel it, that's not correct.
So how do you think we go about educating the parents? Or is it just like we got to just do the best that we can and pass it down on the generation? Or is it just they kind of lost at this point?
Nobody's coming to save you. That's what we said on our last on the podcast I did with Bryce. Nobody coming to save you. Nobody coming to educate you. It's personal responsibility to educate yourself. My parents grew up in the hood. There were drug dealers in the hood. There was madness going on in the hood. But in the household, who sets the precedent on how that household is going to be? You do. The parent does. The parent does. No matter what's going on in the external world, you have to be able to create or set an intention of how you want your family to be. I asked my mom, she said, you know what? Before you guys were even born, I had set an intention of how I want to parent you. See, we reactive when, I had a baby. So now you're reactive and everything. Yeah. You have no blueprint of how you're going to raise that kid. What are the foundational principles that I want to teach my son or my daughter? You just reactive. Or now you just going to do this reactive thing with the mother or the father. And it's like, y'all just grasping for straws. But we can get on here and we can educate. Look, there's an infinite amount of information right now. Information ain't our problem.
No, it's not. Ignorance is.
Resources is not our problem. The inability to be resourceful is our problem. So again, we think about it in terms of, well, what do we do to help this group of people? You got to keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully they can see it and get a spark and then change themselves. But you're not going to go and change them. You can't change nobody but yourself.
And that's what you were saying in episodes watching The Matrix, savior. Everybody's looking for a savior and the fruit of your labor. So if I had continued to work out and continue to fast the way I was doing on the Dr. Sebi diet, my fruit of labor would have had people question me more and then follow. Like, I realized that I can't change people like to, hey, yo, try this diet or try this lifestyle, read this book. I was constantly trying to get people to get where I was at, and it just ain't it ain't meant for everybody to know the journey, or it ain't meant, everybody's looking for a savior. I know I can save myself now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, right, what you said is true. I mean, that's what Jesus said, by their fruit you shall know them. Why is that? That's super simple. If you bite into rotten fruit, what are you gonna do?
Rotten.
Yeah.
You throw it away.
Oh
yeah.
Right? That's the way you know somebody. People say, well, how do you know people's intentions? I say, easy. Look at their actions. That's the fruit. The actions, it's congruency. You have to be congruent. Whatever I say, right? So if I say I'm going to connect you to somebody and I don't connect you, then is David legit?
Nope.
If I told you I was going to do something, I'd do it. But if I connect you if I tell you I'm going to connect you and I connect you,
you the real deal.
I'm congruent. Right? Now, from what happens from that, after that is up to you. But I did my part. Same thing if you go to the traditional gym. Okay, I got 6-pack abs. I'm doing all this. But, okay, you still got to go home and, I can train you and you can lift like me and all that. But I'm not at home making decisions about what you put in your mouth. It's so simple. It's so simple, man.
You talk about memories being in the body, even if your conscious mind doesn't understand that these children still have those memories subconsciously. Do you feel like everybody has memories that we hide and push back, or most people have memories traumatic memories that we're not even aware of?
Yes. Short answer, yes. Like you're not aware of it. Again, so we're talking about consciousness. Last time we talked about consciousness. We talked about you have the conscious mind and you have the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is responsible for 70 upward to like 98% of your day-to-day living. The other 2 is conscious. So what's the thing that's driving you? You're unconscious. Things that you're not aware of, right? So when we ask, do I have things going on in my body? Absolutely. Like, look at your neck right now. Think about your neck. Think about how your posture is. Like, are you tense? And if you are tense, are you tense because of something happened right now? And so that's look around the room. Well, what in the room is making you tense right now? Because tension is only a defense, right? So if there's nothing in the room for me to be in a state of defense about, why is my body locked in a pattern? Because it's been conditioned. So yeah, it's unconscious. It's there all the time. You just didn't even know it. So I'll say everybody.
So I wanted to ask you, what's some books or what's some techniques or something that people who maybe not want to go to the fullest extent of mental health, like what's a good starting point? Maybe like meditation or like a book to read to kind of open up their mind to begin their mental health journey. Like, what's a good step one?
Step one is just having a desire to be better.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Again, my parents, I saw them. Again, we didn't have a lot of things. We had enough, for sure. I never wanted for anything, but what I saw from them on a day-to-day basis, and you probably saw it with your parents too, and this is what we need to speak on within our community, is that, they keep showing us like we are just in these broken homes. Like, I know all of my friends got good parents, man.
Right, me too.
And good parents mean good enough.
Yeah.
There's a thing called the good enough parent. I ain't talking about they took you here and bought you all this. I'm talking about they were good enough. They supported you, went through high school. You did all those things, right? Like, but one thing they taught me is that every day they got up and went to work. Yeah,
they did, man. Damn, they did.
They got up no matter what. My mom had cancer. She still got up, and she never let us see it either. So what I got from them, and what a lot of our generation has missed, is modeling ourselves after someone who has a can-do spirit. My dad, when I was younger, we were going to, I remember just in like, it wasn't preschool, it was like first grade. They asked, well, we want to go on this field trip, but we don't have anybody to drive the bus. And so I told my dad, I was like, I think they asked my dad or something. My dad's like, I can drive a bus. And I was like, you can drive a bus? He's like, I can drive a tank. That's the black man, specifically when you're from Detroit. That's the black man's pride of, I can do it. And guess what? We went on a field trip and he took us. Well, what do you think that did to me as a little kid driving next to my dad on the bus and seeing that he can get and take us, the whole class, on a trip because he has an ability to do something. Can-do spirit. That's what we need to see. And we're observing people, But I think we observe the wrong people. We observe the people who we scroll and is all manufactured of everything, but it don't show you failures either. That's that's a principle. That's an ingredient in it. So we can talk about reading books and all that, but if you don't even have the spark to believe that you can do something, then that's where you need to start. And you need to get sparked by somebody who's going to inspire you that you can do better.
Shit, I feel like only you. I feel like only you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all within you. Now, I was also listening to how you were saying, now, okay, yeah, you got the books. Now you got to apply. I think that's the biggest thing of the mental health journey. A lot of people is not applying to face those fears. So, like, what is something you would tell people about applying the knowledge?
It's like you said, man. Like, listen, it ain't no shortcut.
No, it ain't.
Y'all doing this.
Yeah.
Y'all doing this.
Yeah.
Y'all doing this podcast. Y'all see, ain't no shortcut to this.
No.
Right? You think one guest was going to come on your show and blow your shit up, right?
Oh, hell yeah. For sure. I definitely did.
It don't work like that.
I definitely did.
It don't work like that no more. The whole Oprah effect is over. Remember, y'all probably too young to remember the Oprah effect. If you got on Oprah's show, it was done.
Yeah.
You was about to be big time. But also, you didn't see that the people who got on that show, who got all that attention at that point, you didn't see that could have destroyed them. Because if I got a business and I get on that show and all these million people come to my website and I don't even have good cause of action and I don't even have a good product to sell, I just missed out on all that traction. So you got on there and everybody else around you in your circle on the streets think you balling because you got on the show. But they don't see the behind the scenes thing, man. Like, that's what we talking about. Like, it's process. And there is growth and failure. There's growth and pain. So, you put out a video, only 200 people saw it. But guess what?
That's a lot.
That's 200. If 200, like I told my boy, John, I said, if 200 people came in this room right now, you'd be like, damn. If 20 people came in this room right now, but those numbers don't mean nothing to you because you've been conditioned that you're supposed to have it so fast and all these numbers. Well, I ain't got these numbers. And it's just like, bro, what y'all learning is this delayed gratification. And that's the thing that truly builds you more than anything. Is delaying your gratification and going through the journey to know that, guess what? I was going to tell you this off the air, but I'm going to tell you on, just because y'all need thumbnails on y'all YouTube. Simple. You need to put thumbnails on their cover art. Then you're going to get more views, right? You got to learn that, though. You got to learn that. And now I just told y'all that. Don't mean that you're going to go put it into place, because now you got to see, well, how the hell I'm going to get the thumbnail art created, and who's going to delegate that, and who's going, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all process that people don't see, you know, and that comes from, again, just being in the process and doing the work, applying the reading and failing and getting back on the horse and do it again.
Yeah, I just feel like, oh my bad.
No, you can go.
I just feel like, man, right now, I mean, I understand everybody, depression and everything, but now it's like, shit, you got to win the battle. I feel like we sitting in it. Like, everybody around my age is sitting in it. Like, bro, man up and, I don't know if that's the wrong thing to say, but, you know, man up and win the battle. Like, I feel like that's what I tell myself, because I could sit in this trauma and depression all day, but if I don't stand up and man up and go through it, how can I see it through?
I think what you're really saying is have courage.
Yeah.
You know, that's just another way of saying it. That's from our culture, man up. That don't mean it's a bad word, but it's what you're saying. You got to have the courage to go along the journey. We talk about trauma and all this. Like, I'm online and I see, like, I've been talking about trauma for 15 years. So now people come in and start talking about trauma. They don't even know the mechanics of it. So what are you talking about? You just saying words, and then people like, everything is trauma. Everybody a narcissist. Everybody, you know, it's like but it's like, it's cool. That's what we needed. We need to elevate so we can have the awareness, right?
Have the conversation. But you have to start understanding what it is for yourself. What it is. What does it do to you? Right? You read a book on how to be a millionaire. There's books on that. How many people became millionaires because they read the book? Not that many.
Right? It's a journey. You gotta be, you know, on your journey. So we were recently featured on CNN. Everybody's like, oh, congratulations. I'm like, yeah, but this 15 years. I should be on CNN. I should be on more shows. I've been doing it for 15 years. But then people would look like that and think, well, I should be able to get on there tomorrow.
Yeah.
But why? Where's the value?
Well, yeah. Value is very.
I'm not at Inception right now. Inception is open. People are going in and coming out and feeling better. That's value. I've added value. I've added massive value for people. I should be elevated because I elevated myself and I'm helping other people to elevate themselves. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what the younger generation has to understand. You out there trying to give value when you ain't got none.
Damn.
It's true. Shit, I've been through all them stages. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, that's why I can really relate to it and hear it now and just listen. Like, yeah, I thought stuff was gonna happen overnight. I bullshitted the work, you know. It's part of the process, and I'm kind of happy I did do all that. Now I'm learning to come with more courage and not be scared to promote more on social media with, like you said, 200 views. And I realized like 200 people is a lot.
Yeah,
you know. So, but the way social media is set up is like, damn, you want to be viral. You want to feel important.
Well, first, let me congratulate both of y'all on your podcast. How many episodes you got?
40.
40.
Y'all up there with me. I just dropped 42. Right? Guess what? The average podcast. Guess how many episodes they get to? The number
7. I remember from you last time you told me
7. You passed 7. You know, just keep doing it. You know, like Joe Rogan didn't even know his thing was going to be that. I watched Joe Rogan in the beginning. It looked nothing like it looks like now. I saw Spotify talking about, they can give him $200 million. Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't think that was going to be that. He was just goofing off, talking to his homies. But our generation, our culture, we're flashed. And I don't know, I'm sure it's other cultures too. It's not to demonize us. It's not us. It's not only us. Everybody else is doing it too that way. Look, you go in there and look at that kid unboxing toys for $23 million. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, that stuff, that when you see that though, it changes how I view money and the concept of it. And what's value to people too.
Yes.
Because what you think ain't valuable, it's a little 7-year-old watching unboxing toys. Somebody find value in it.
That's crazy.
I watch chiropractic videos.
Me too.
I watch husky videos. Just a dog.
Yeah, I be watching all type of
like this. I watch videos where people are literally it's this cow hoofing video. They're hoofing the cows. They're shaving it. I'm like,
dang, you watching everything I watch.
I watch landscaping videos. People,
it's just relaxing.
Power washing the sidewalk.
it's just relaxing.
There's something for everybody. But guess what? Every one of those channels, guess what they do for us? They're adding the value. You trying to get on the podcast and talk and what are you talking about? Nothing. No value. Y'all add value. Y'all are the inner wealth of your generation. You know? Yes, we're gonna cross over, but for the most part, we trying to do the same thing. That's why I support y'all. Cause we doing the same thing. You just doing it through y'all vessels to younger people. Cause how old are you?
26.
How old are you?
23.
Dude, I'm 42.
Don't even look like it.
I swear.
I'm the old head, which sounds super crazy, man. Like I'm the old head talking to y'all.
And then you still like a young G to some old heads that's older than you.
And there's some old heads who I need to get the stuff from. And then too, just because you being older don't mean you got the value. I listen to y'all. I get information from you guys. Like I learn from you. Like it's a synergistic relationship. It's not you too young to tell me nothing. What? No, you validate what I've been saying.
And we don't know how long his spirit been here.
That's another thing.
He could be way wiser than, or been here multiple times before you.
I feel us moving into that Mycelium network again.
Oh, see, now you're talking about the Mycelium network.
I wanted to get into that. I said, I don't know if we might have to go deep today.
Okay. We got to, because I was listening, you guys know, I was listening to him, like I said, the Matrix episode, and just talking about the crystals and the chakras, like how we think that's the devil. And I ain't gonna lie, like that's what kept me away from. That's what keeps me away from. I don't want to be wearing it or something. Like, man, I always hear this, the devil. You know, you hear the, I don't want to say who they are, but the people on the streets that preaching stuff on the streets, they always say that's devilish. You know, God don't talk about nothing about stones.
It's interesting that you just brought that up. I just opened my Facebook today where it was a post where somebody had on there all the stones. They said, for y'all saying that that this is not in the Bible, they listed out every stone that was in the Bible, verse by verse.
Wow.
is of the devil. What if everything you saying is of the devil is really from God, and they're holding you hostage from seeing the real power? It's the man behind the curtain, bro. You know, it's the Wizard of Oz, where you think, you know, it's this person. No, you look back there, it's the white dude back there, like pulling strings. And this is not this. And we just, black people, just like, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, you know, even Black Panther, I love how they showed us talking to our ancestors.
Yeah.
Because we've been always made say, that's demonic.
That's very demonic. I heard that only certain people can do that.
It's divination is what they say from the Bible. Bro, I grew up in the church like you, bro. I know all the language. I know all the cultural language. I know all the cultural fears.
Man, that shit.
I understand the positive sides, and I understand the negative sides. And I've been in the Christianity church world for a bit. I was in the self-help world. I was in the personal fitness world. I was been in the alternative world with everything you see at Inception. And guess what? Guess what's in all of them?
The same.
Bad actors. They're bad actors in all of them. And they're good actors in all of them. Discernment is your responsibility. Discernment is your responsibility about what you take in and what you spit out. When you eat, you eliminate, don't you? So when you eat, whether it's of Christianity, whether it's in the self-help world, whether it's in the alternative world, whatever world you into, when you eat, you need to eliminate that don't absorb and don't serve you. You know, people like to continue to try to put in stuff that ain't even serving us. See, that thought process don't even serve us. Our ancestors can't talk to us. So now you disconnected from where our ancestors at, first of all. Let's talk about that.
Damn. In the ground?
They ain't in the ground.
I don't know where they at.
They in your DNA.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at your DNA, they know that our DNA is like a memory drive. Look at those little memory sticks. Where do you think they got that from? Where do you think they got the idea from? It's sperm. What's in sperm? It's DNA.
That's crazy.
So all your ancestors are inside of you. You remember, y'all probably too young to remember Superman, the first original Superman.
I remember that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Christopher Reeves. He would go to this cave, and these figures start popping up, and they start, his ancestors. Because what you really don't know is they had a visual representation. Those heads probably weren't on that wall if we want to make it seem real. It was him talking to his own internal guys that's in there. They're in there. I cannot not be connected to my heritage because it's in my DNA. And what else is in your DNA? God. So the idea that I need to go to church, I stopped going to church when I realized that I was living in it already.
It's the temple.
It's the temple.
But some people
that's a church building with a community of church members coming together, but the building is not the church, it's your vessel. But how are you saying that you're the church when I look at your body, you beat down, broken down, overweight, diabetes, all these types of things? That don't look like God to me.
No, that's real.
Hey.
And I'm not trying to demonize anybody with weight issues or anything.
It's just that. Facts.
But you come from that environment, and you know the level of hypocrisy when we look at each other. And they speaking this message of like God and holiness, and you look at them and you're like, but where's the fruit?
Yeah, where's the fruit?
So it don't matter. And you've seen it too, and with pastors and leaders. Because that's just, I'm not a leader. I told y'all that last episode. I ain't a leader. I'm just a mirror. The mirror for you see yourself more clearly. I'm telling you God. But that's look, listen, that's heresy.
You can't say that.
That's heresy right there, because the black person will deny our power. That's the mental emotional programming that they did to us with slavery. That we will deny power. Yeah. Not me. I'm not strong enough.
No man, not me, Mata.
So it's like, but when I say I'm God, doesn't mean I'm greater than you.
Right.
Or that I can go and do. No, I'm not greater than you, and I'm not lower than you either, because guess what? I am you and you are me. It's in the Bible. Jesus said, love thy neighbor as yourself. Why? Because that is yourself. Quantum theory. Look in quantum theory. There's no such thing as separation. Everything is quantum soup. Why you think at the end of the Matrix, when he finally opened his eyes, he saw cold and it didn't look no different. All of it was cold.
Yeah, damn.
It's quantum soup. That's what you're living in. So when I hurt you or I offend you, I'm hurting myself, because we are the oneness. That's what Jesus talked about. He was preaching oneness. And if Jesus came back today, people would miss him, because all the people who promoting Jesus promoting separation. But how you promoting separation when your master or your leader was all about oneness? Somebody lying. Mm-hmm. And if all the ancient cultures and the spiritual texts and traditions all saying the same thing, but you think you got the monopoly on spirituality, you got the only franchise on it. That sounds like a person who's egotistical. You're a narcissist in the pulpit.
Whoo, they don't like a smart ass nigga. He went there. I can't wait to watch that part again.
Do you feel like a lot of people shy away from leadership or just gaining intelligence in general because it puts a target on their back?
It definitely does.
Because our leaders, you know, it's documented what happens to them.
Yeah, but if you want to live in that fear-based reality, you go do that. But I'm not living in that fear-based reality. I'm good. I'm good. All things work together for my good, so I can't be walking in that. It doesn't. Everybody, listen, even if you ain't a leader, you got messed up stuff to go along. So I might as well be the best version of myself that I could be. You know, so I don't want to. I've had those thoughts of fear for sure. I know what you're talking about because it's like, yo, you know, when you start speaking this message towards, especially towards the black people, I already know, because we had this conversation. They gonna take me out like Malcolm. I'm like, bro. They got to take us all out then.
Yeah.
Because now with social media and we have decentralized consciousness, we've decentralized it.
Everybody think they conscious now?
No, it's just that if we decentralized it, that means that I can have a voice and you can have a voice. And before it was like one person saying something.
Yeah.
Dude, what you think I'm saying that's different from what y'all saying on y'all podcast? Dude, we saying the same stuff over and over. The question is, when will that click on in you to say, you know, I need to get up, get out, and get something? Don't spend all your days trying to get high.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. We're saying the same things for people. We're singing the same song so people can start to resonate with that song and get with it. And that's why when you have the music and how it's out there, if you listen to some song and you say, I don't even like it, listen to it 10 times, and next you know you bobbing your head. And why now? Because now you resonate with it. That's what we have to keep putting this message out. It don't matter if you got 2 views. That one view, you don't know who it is behind that one view. That's another thing. You don't have a face. You don't have a consciousness. You don't have an energy behind that one view to know, man, you just sparked the next generation. And like, yo, I saw Spank and I saw Ahmad and they was talking this thing. They was gonna break the machine. I'm gonna come out and break the machine. They 5-6 years old. You don't know. Because how you see stuff. But to answer your question, I can't see it that way. Because if I see it that way, then I will stop. I would shut my podcast down. I would shut down Inception. Well, they gonna come and take me out, so I better stop now.
Oh, that's crazy. And it really just, for you to keep saying that, like, hey, man, just the impact, having 200 people in the room, having 20 people in the room. When I was in Atlanta this weekend, I went to this comedy show, and I swear it was the most random thing ever. I was in the comedy show, and it was in and everybody was walking out. I promised to God. This dude came up to me and said, hey, man, you the dude from that podcast.
Wow.
Hey, man, I love your podcast, man. It's amazing. And I'm looking at him like, okay, yeah, I know you don't watch my podcast. Like, what are you talking about? You think because I'm in this building, like I'm one of the people who was on this show. But I'm like, you must have got the wrong guy. You don't watch my podcast. He like, no, I watch your podcast. He pulled up the phone. He followed the Ancestral Plane and he followed Breaking the Machine. He didn't follow me, which I don't know why, but he followed Breaking the Machine and the Ancestral Plane. I was like, damn.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, you really watch me for real? He like, yeah, man, I love the podcast. Y'all be doing me. Y'all be talking y'all stuff. Y'all be on some elevated stuff, young brother. I'm like, dang, that's crazy.
So that's a learning lesson. It's multiple lessons, and I had to get these lessons too from that same thing. And the first lesson is, cool, you see the impact, right? Cool, that makes you feel good, right? To know that there's somebody out there who listens to your stuff and values your stuff. And that's the cool thing. But then you got to know to leave it there. Because now you can get caught up in the people know me, people bigging you up, and now you walk into rooms and now you're expecting everybody to come up to you because it happens more and more and more.
Shit, that happened to me.
Specifically for me too, right now, because I get a lot. So then I start looking like, somebody gonna say something to me? Am I on this level? They saying something to me? So you start processing all of that. Because you got to understand the conditioning of all of this, and how this works. A screen, We're on a screen. So when TV back in the day, remember the as seen on TV logo? That's branding. So if they put it on the box and the set is on as seen on TV, that means what? It's legit. So now the screen is not just the screen how we used to see it in a 2, 4, 6, 8 channel, whatever. Now you got micro channels of everything, right? So people, they're still conditioned the same way as seen on TV. So as seen on YouTube, as seen on Instagram, as seen on
Twitter,
as seen with a celebrity. Because if I come and sit with y'all now, right? So now people see y'all on my level because I'm talking to you, right?
Right.
That's how they I don't give a fuck. but that's how people are programmed to see it. You was with Brandon T. Jackson.
Yeah.
You somebody now.
Facts.
Because you had Jackson, you had Brandon on the show. So that's why they keep saying that you got to get a bigger figure. How about I just get people who I really resonate with, who speak some message that's like, he don't even got a follower. But it don't matter. That wisdom is still truth. Don't matter who following you. Like, because he got fruit. So what if you got the people who got the followers but don't have the fruit?
That's real.
Now you got to diminish who you are to get them on your show because I had somebody in my inbox because they see everybody in Detroit coming on the podcast, but it's not everybody. It's the people who I really mess with. So they saying, well, how can I get on your thing? Well, who are you? What value do you add? Oh, you just saw faces of Detroit and you thought, well, I'm a big face in Detroit. I should be on there too. But you not projecting any inner wealth that I see that I even want to have a conversation with you about, So it's a whole game with this, and you're going to see it more and more as your podcast goes more and more, because y'all going to get to 3, 4, 5, 600,000 followers. And then there's more threats that come with that too. That's just what it is. But if you build yourself up along the way, people come on my sponsored post because I have ads run out there and it's Charlemagne talking, and I keep seeing every negative comment about Charlemagne. You know what I do? Delete it. I don't even entertain it. That's my page, bro. I'm God MC on my page. I'm Dayhova on my page. So on my page, you ain't gonna just come and say what you want to say. I'm not even gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna delete it and show you, no, I got the power here. That's what you have to learn, that you still have the power of these words. How you decide to engage with it is like, we going back to this Matrix thing. At the end of the movie, Neo woke up. And when he woke up, they shot at him. I just posted this the other day, if you saw it. And when they shot at him, he simply said one word: no. All of that, the bullets and everything coming at him, that's just stimulus. He was saying how he was going to respond to the stimulus once he became the one. And once he saw that stimulus, he's like, I don't want no part of that. No, that's not even real. Because think about the comment. It's not even real. They don't even know you.
They don't.
But when you read the comment, you take the comment and you start processing it in your head and start projecting all these different things. And now internally, you are worked up. Neo was super calm and collected. He simply said, before they're like, bullets, dodge. Oh, I got to dodge like this. I got to dodge like that. You saw the elevation. Then he got to the point the elevation was just simply, no. I'm done with that, bro. And that's where I'm coming into my life again, where I'm like, I got to let more of my spiritual divinity to express itself. Because you can get caught in I'm in a mental health world, but they work all collectively. I'm in a self-help world, but they work all collectively. I'm in the physical health world. I lift weights. But that don't mean you shouldn't meditate and shouldn't do your practices that's going to help with the brain and the body to calm down and do all that type of work too. That doesn't mean that I'm a vegan. Well, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't, do some type of spiritual practice as well. They all have to work synergistically together. And that's where I'm starting to realize, and I'm looking at myself more like, dude, like I have to like sit down and really think about all this in terms of like my podcast. Like, what am I really putting out there and being more me? Cause I'll be hesitant to put stuff out there, bro.
Who you tell?
Cause I'm like, cause they canceling people and all that type of stuff. I'm like, I still gotta speak my truth. I can't let you silence me. People silence themselves emotionally. Think about it. Those emotions that you don't want to feel. You silence it and suppress it. Now you got all these types of ailments. Well, the world silences you too. when you get a voice. But understand this: the world listen to the people who out there being themselves.
They do.
We love them people because we know we can't do it. Why you like Charles Barkley? Why people like Charles Barkley?
Because he is self.
Because he is freaking self.
And he say all type of off the wall shit.
What about again Charlemagne? Because he himself.
Yeah.
What about Donald Trump?
He himself.
Because himself.
Yeah.
Whether you like it
or not,
whether you love it, it don't matter. They still gonna be them. And that's the part of the mental health work that you have to get to is who is the self that you're trying to be.
And I feel like that's definitely that's true because I'm even dealing. That's what I'm dealing with. Trying to be like, bro, fuck it. This is me. Take me for who I am.
Spank, you a spiritual dude. You were raised in a Christian household. You still gonna cuss. You still gonna do. That don't diminish your life, bro.
Yeah.
That don't diminish who you are because you don't want to go into a building and do all the cultural traditions that everybody else does.
Right.
But that don't mean that you can't do it either.
Right.
It's your decision on whether you want to do that or not. And nobody should demonize you on whether you want to do that
or cancel me.
Or nobody should separate you to act like, well, you not Christ-like.
Yeah.
Well, who are you to say that if I'm Christ-like? You haven't even tasted my fruit. Because you're not looking at fruit. You're too busy looking at rules and regulations that you don't even follow.
And earlier this week on the show, I asked him, like, who said you wasn't perfect? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody can judge you and say, bro, you're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can't tell you that.
Again, do we listen to the verses that's coming out of that book? It says, who am I to look at the splinter in your eye, right? You looking at the speck of dust in mine when you got a splinter in yours. You know? You looking at the little small dust in my eye, but you criticizing me on that, but you got a pole in your eye that you can't even see. We talk about this every Sunday when we go to church. These are the messages we talk about. The thing is, back down to that thing. If everybody is really who's going into those buildings or coming out and they have fruit, the world will be a different place. Yeah. Just in the black church alone. Yeah. At least black culture will be different. Well, why? I've seen on BET, it said it years ago, and this is BET. I'm putting it on them. It said that they named a top like maybe 2 or 3 things that have been the biggest detriment to black society. One of them was the church.
Damn.
Well, that's the storehouse, right? So think about this. So if we have blockchain technology and we all invest into that blockchain technology, based on how much we put up, we have a greater say. Right? Because based on how much money we put up, but we're all owners in that. Based on all that money we put into the church, how many of us own anything from the church?
Nothing. Not I know of shit, none.
Now, I'm not saying that all churches operate that way. You may find a few, but at the same time, if Creflo say I want $60 million for a jet, and you ask to borrow the jet, you think you getting on the plane? Who got the jet? Wasn't Creflo. It was the community. They crowdfunded it. But the crowd don't have no benefit.
Damn.
This has been the church. And if your church operates differently, cool.
Yes.
Then there ain't even nothing that's show all of us that so we can have a better model. But we ain't got a lot of good models, man. In terms of that, the nation, that's why I talked to you about the nation. The problem with the nation I felt was like for all black people and in just the church in general, it was too tied to religion. So we would all be barking about the religion.
Yeah, man.
Versus we not even looking at what Farrakhan's saying. It's talking about self-development. He been talking about self-development forever.
Yes.
My dad picked up Final Call papers. But see, what did they do to him? They canceled him based on, and again, I don't even know the full statement. I look for it, talking about he was against Jewish people. He's anti-Semitic. I still haven't found the thing they were saying. Every time I hear Farrakhan, for whatever reason, I'm like, damn, Farrakhan know what he's talking about. That dude is smart.
Yeah.
That dude is a master, violinist. He's a violin, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a smart guy. And it don't matter if I agree or don't agree with everything he says. Go to Black Panther in that Wakanda. They had different tribes that had different beliefs and different ways of looking at the same thing. That's cool. Where are our tribes?
Man, people still love George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and they had slaves. Like,
yeah, right.
Y'all are not the moral judges of who we should look up to and stuff, and y'all look up to these people who had slaves and literally.
Yo, Trump said grab them by and it was like that. They just like that just gloss over all of that. So when we have these talks about these types of things, and if somebody's ever asked me, I'll say the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? You do the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? You had slaves for 400 years. Why are you talking to me about anything? Why are you talking to me about anything about my culture? First of all, let's start there, right? So it's all this is mental, emotional, and programming. And that's what we're talking about, is just waking up again from that Matrix program. And everybody has a different version of it for their own culture. And I've talked to my friends who's Indian, and I'm like, they sitting there telling me stuff. I'm like, damn. I thought we had it bad. Like, you just don't know. Because you look from the outside in, you think, well, they got this, they got that. But you don't know, yo, they got some stuff going on in their culture that's just far worse. I said that last culture. Remember, that post... Some of those posts went viral when I was saying that, everybody makes it seem like black fathers is just not in their kids' life. Like, that's the narrative. That is not true. My dad has been in my life the whole time. You said yours too.
It's a conversation starter. It was a conversation starter.
And then the triggered people, the people whose parents aren't in their life, or fathers aren't in their kid, the woman who the kid's life. And no, that's not how it is. It's like, would you think every black man is a deadbeat? You think every black man is in prison? You think every black man is uneducated?
Yep.
You think every black man don't have a business or is a dog? Like, there's some good character black men out there. I like to think that I'm one of them. I like to think that y'all are one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the narrative. Like you said, the good guys got to show the wins. We got to show the wins and show we always been here. Y'all just put the spotlight on the bad stuff because you want to perpetuate a program, and you wanted us to look at that program, think, well, I want to be like that. Look at the rappers with all these podcasts now.
Yeah,
their podcasts is now they're going back. I love the Ghetto Boys podcast.
Yeah, I like
it's other ones too. And it's like, when you hear about things that they went through, it humanizes them.
Yes.
Because all we saw was just gangsters and thugs just putting stuff on wax. How is that even possible? You got to go to the studio. You gotta edit the tracks. You gotta do a lot of stuff. You in the studio, man, just really using some skill sets. And now, but I'm a thug too. Like no, we're you know.
Did you watch the Kanye documentary?
I started watching it yesterday.
That definitely humanized. Did I say that right?
Humanized,
yeah. That definitely.
I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned too, but just hit me all of a sudden. Did y'all watch that new Breakfast Club interview with Trader Truth?
No.
Man, y'all gotta watch that, man. He was talking about basically, like, more than half the interview, he was talking about this disagreement that he was having with his baby mama, the mother of his daughter, and he was just talking about, like, how he was basically fighting to see his daughter and all these different changes that he was going through to break that stigma that you talking about. And I was just like, dang, we really don't hold people accountable like we hold men accountable. Like, we constantly bashing men and saying what they not doing, but then when we step up to the plate, people don't really try to.
Not enough.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he talking about the judge and stuff, not siding with him. They not helping him out. Like, it's just like so much stacked against. Like,
well, here's what's happening. So, women have been suppressed for a long time.
That's what it was.
But let's look at it from black women. Black women always been who they were. Like, they went through slavery with us.
Wow.
They went and worked at jobs. My mom went to a job. My grandmother went to a job. This whole idea that this conversation about patriarch, matriarch type stuff, we ain't even included in that. That's not for us. That conversation is not for us because we always been working. We always knew our women were great. How do you think we got here? Collectively, we got here. You got grandmother? You got grandfather? Go and look at how they lived, right? It doesn't mean that it wasn't that everything was peachy. But, we had to survive. We had to get together. Everything wasn't about love. We got idea about love.
We in a fantasy.
I told my girl, I said, listen, one thing about you is I know that if we get dropped off in the middle of the jungle, I have a great chance of survival with you, because she's smart, and she has a can-do spirit, right? It's a black woman. That's no different than what we've known. So this idea and this narrative that, you know, men are less than, it came from an attack because a lot of suppressed people start waking up. And when you wake up from the healing, right, you start to notice what you don't like, and you start to be super vocal about what you don't like. But in the beginning of that, you're over triggered about what you don't like either, because it's like you're just coming out of it. So now you can't stand it. It's like, you ever have food poisoning? Mm-mm. You ever have food poisoning? Yeah. Think about the food you have food poisoning with. When you look at it again afterwards, you don't want that no more. Mm-mm. You're like, no, I'm done. I don't want no more.
Smell good,
it don't matter. It don't matter. Mm-mm. Because the healing process has to continue. So once the healing process continue, I got kicked out of a church, bro. And then I left a second church. I ain't want to hear nothing with God. I ain't want to hear nothing with the Bible. I ain't want to hear none of that. Mm-hmm. It took me to go down my own healing journey to start to break all the pain and the suffering that I got from the people and start connecting back to who I was, which is the God I am. And then realizing that, dude, all those things work together for my good. And now I can see it in a greater way, and I'm not mad at the church. I just can see what the issues are, mm-hmm. and what the ways you can rectify. If you're going to have church, then here's a more efficient, effective way of doing it. You know, like, so that's what's happening. So the women who are coming, you know, getting that freedom, it's like, no, I don't need no man. I don't need this. I don't need that. I need to have freedom. I need this. It's like, cool, go have all that.
They're going to come back to that.
But then you got to balance yourself back out and say, you know what? I don't need a man, but being independent is not the way of life. It's being interdependent. I don't need you, but I damn sure want you. And when you come and you add value and I add value, then you look at that and you're like, I would never want to be without you because of the value you add. So that whole conversation, man, that's coming from the collective woman. I need to be independent. No, you're going to find out that's not the way. Yeah. You're going to die alone. Because a lot of people in Japan right now are dying alone.
Shit, a lot of, I don't know, but I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of black women that's probably, I don't even want to say that's going to die alone. But a lot of them ain't in relationships or don't want to.
But again, let's quantify that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the numbers.
Right.
So then all of a sudden I'm just making this generalization that ain't necessarily true.
Right.
It's like you keep seeing all black men marry white women. Bruh, that's like what? 0.2%?
Somebody told me that yesterday. I said that statement.
So if it's 0.2%, then why are you worried about that? Why are you focused on that? Look at how many people die from COVID. But look how many people die from cardiovascular disease. The numbers far outweigh COVID people.
And COVID, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even want to say, was it 1%?
What, who died of COVID?
Yeah.
Yes, it's down there, but
that's a low ass.
But here it is though. You people had pre-existing conditions. Yeah. Did they die from COVID or did they die from the pre-existing condition? Their body was already couldn't take on anything else, and then COVID was the straw that broke the camel's back. So what did we die from?
The previous disease.
Yeah. Because if you got COVID and you were in a good health, how many people who had COVID were in good health died? And when in good health, again, you got to quantify what good health is.
Right.
So if you look at those numbers, you're like, so it's all a program game. So when you look at
300,000 died this week.
When you look at what's being presented, you need to ask yourself, what's the truth? We got to go back down to discernment. What's the truth in those numbers? Go look at the numbers yourself. You know, go to worlddeathrate.com and like see how many people died just us sitting here. You know how many people died just us sitting here?
Damn.
Thousands. How many people were born us just sitting here? Thousands. That's just how it works. This is how it works. So that's his life.
It's like a portal.
It is a portal. We leaving, we coming back.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like a video game.
Yeah.
Respawn. You died and you came back.
Damn.
This body is gone, but that
Look at your
spirit.
mind face when you looked at me.
This body gone, but the
First time I met you, you said some stuff. I was like, "Whoa, man!"
No, that's when you start talking about simulation theories and stuff like that.
You helped me break the machine. I was like, "You."
That's the machine. The machine
community
is
trauma and stuff. I was like, "What? This community trauma? What?" You was like, "Yeah,
collective trauma."
Yeah.
Well, we're suffering from collective trauma right now, just from COVID.
Why did they put all those restrictions on us growing up? Like, we just talk about, like, us taking control of our life, like, doing what we want. Like, you was just telling Spank, like, if you want to go to church this day, go. If you don't feel pressure to do it. Why do we feel all these pressures to do all these things? Like, why do, like, people just really don't live freely nowadays?
Because of community trauma.
What's the all right? Go
Here it is.
Go in
If I don't go and do those things that the community and the culture says I can do, am I now not a part of the community?
Yeah.
Now I'm ostracized from the community.
Yep.
So if I want to be a black man and be more free in how I dress and maybe dress different than, let's say, hip hop, because as a black person, you're born into hip hop. You're born into it.
Yeah.
So what if I don't like hip hop? Oh, you white.
Yeah. That's the first thing.
So again, now you're policing me and how I should think. Oh, you're white. Like I met somebody. I was like, you watch sports, and he's like, nah, he's a black guy. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I could have had this. You don't watch sports? What's wrong with you? You sure you black? You sure you? No,
Your black card been removed.
He just didn't like sports. So what do you like? He could probably like something that just totally turned me on to like, wow, I never looked at that. So we police ourselves in terms of the conditioning. I got out of that a long time ago because I moved. Maybe y'all should move at some point.
Shit, I did. I'm trying to move again. I was gone for 5 years.
Where you was going?
I was at Central State in Ohio.
Oh, you was in school.
And that's an institution. I was trying to tell people, like, when you come back from any type of institution, you kind of fucked. For real, man. I came back home like, shit. Like, it was hard. It's hard.
Different when you move and you're grown. I mean, just go to Miami. That's where I live. Go down there and see some people who from Detroit living down there. They don't act like they from Detroit. Why? Because you have more freedom to not act like you from Detroit. And what does it mean to act like I'm from Detroit? What does that mean?
Aggressive.
What does that program mean? Do I got to wear Cardi's on all the time?
Yeah.
Do I got what do I got to do? What do I got to do?
Say what up, dog.
But we do this though. We do this. I'm from 6 Mile. I'm from 7 Mile. I'm from 8 Mile.
Yep.
And we like to talk about all the hardest places we from, because the hardest places we from mean you gonna respect me from, because I'm from a hard place.
Yep.
But that hard place you from, you don't even want to be from.
Hell no.
You don't, because if you wanted to, then why you becoming a rapper and moving out the hood if you want to be there?
That's what everybody do.
Because you don't want to be there. You don't want that. You don't like that.
Claiming it, but ain't still over there.
That's because really what you're perpetuating and what you're talking about is a lack of safety. That's the only reason why we leave our neighborhoods. Why? Because it ain't safe.
It ain't safe at all.
Right? So then you listen to all these rappers on their podcast, and they telling you about, you go back and you listen to their music with all the killing and all that. They living in the suburbs. You think they live in the suburbs. What schools do their kids go to?
In the suburbs.
Suburbs. What they're teaching their kids ways about safety, being safe within yourself and stuff like that. But they was telling you about murder, death, homicide, telling you about trauma. And guess what? I liked it. You liked it. But then there's the other thing. It's entertainment.
We don't know the difference between the two.
Well, some people, when they start rapping it, they gotta live it. Me and Bryce talked about that. When you start rapping that stuff, you gangster. At some point, you gotta live it. Even Tupac was hanging around
Tupac
was hanging around Haitian Jack.
Man,
you know who Haitian Jack is?
Yeah, I know who Haitian Jack is.
And a lot of those guys back then was saying like, yeah,
why the fuck you around?
You need to be around this, man. But he kept talking about my enemies and my adversaries and all this other stuff, and then next you know he died. How did he die?
Man, Pac, I love Pac, but like his death was a perfect example.
Him and Big's death.
Yeah, but more of his only because he wanted to go jump a nigga that you didn't even like know for real. You know what I'm saying? Because your man, that's the one that jumped me, dog. Nah, you jump him. Nah, you did.
Let me tell you, man. No action is an action. And oftentimes the path of least resistance is the best action. If he didn't do that night, would he still been alive? Yeah, probably, but he probably would have died next week. because you can't keep putting out a certain energy and not expect that energy to come back to you.
Yeah.
Specifically when you're putting out an energy that's on wax and that's being played by millions of people over and over. Whose voice is that on that track? Yeah. That's my own frequency signature, right? So that's my voice. So it's being perpetuated over and over and over and over to that point where, man, ain't no telling what that builds up.
And then I have to remember this though. Pac was young. He was only 25.
He died. How old you said? You 26?
Yeah.
He died when he was 26, right?
25.
He was 96 when he died, right?
It was 25. Yeah, and Big was 24. So it's like, damn. I know 10 years or 5 years later from that, if he would have lived, you know, he probably would be way more bright about like that situation.
Hey, dude, it's good to see our guys mature.
Yeah,
it's good. I like seeing a lot of the guys we grew up to and listened to be mature, you know, and look at Jay, you know, and again, when I say mature, I don't mean that this white idea of this is what maturity looks like, but it's when you calm, you collect it, and you want to add value to people, and you don't think about yourself anymore. You think about the collective. You just think about yourself. And collectively as black people, we think about ourselves and because we're in survival mode.
Yeah.
Because I think about what I got to do to survive. Because here we go again. Oh, they didn't hire a black coach for the NFL. Well, why don't y'all make your own NFL?
Like I told them, we're too scared to do that.
Yeah, I understand it ain't easy. I'm not saying that's an easy thing. But if you start now and 10 years from now, what do you got? Look at the big three. Oh, don't nobody want to watch that? Yeah, of course, because you just starting.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like this. Who are watching your podcast right now? Mm-hmm. So if only 10 people show up, you starting, and you gonna figure it out along the way. So I think that collectively we gotta stop. I think you posted something about who was that talking about how we think? I think it was man J.R. Smith. Talking about why y'all don't own y'all gym. Mm-hmm. You know, when I go to LA and we gonna work out, why we gotta go get it right? Why you don't own your stuff?
Yeah.
But decentralized consciousness and decentralized money is gonna help us do both of those things.
Mm-hmm. What role does affirmation?
Y'all gotta stop me because y'all, you know.
No, you be flowing. I love it.
That's what I'm going back.
I just wanted to know, what role does affirmation play in mental health, or does it play a role?
Yeah, it plays a role.
Do you do affirmation?
No, not anymore. Used to when I first learned about affirmation. So again, here it is. I go deep when I get into stuff like this. Probably 21, 22, learned about affirmations. I learned about subliminals. Subliminals, you can tape your voice. You got to have a 3 second, I think it's anywhere from like a 5 second cadence, whatever. Usually 3 or 5 second cadence. Record your voice with the affirmation that you're saying and then play it overnight. Subliminal. So then so the whole idea is that when you're sleeping, it starts to creep into your subconscious mind. So I did that. I did supraliminals. That's a whole different thing. And then I did, at first I bought CDs and it was somebody else talking about saying it, you know, this white person's voice saying, you're a whole, you're amazing. You know, like I did it because I was in sales too. Did it work? How do you quantify that? Right. You know, but then I got into a float tank. And when I got into a float tank, and because here's the thing, when you're in consciousness, you have different levels of consciousness in terms of brain frequency. So we go from delta, which is the sleep state. So delta, theta is meditative. Alpha is like that more kind of feel good, wakey, drowsy state, creativity. Then you got low beta, you got beta. Beta is what we in when we're trying to basically process information, cognitive functioning. You're in beta frequency, right? When you're in the float tank, you drop down to theta frequency, which is that meditative state. So you literally after 10, 15 minutes, you're going to drop down because you don't have stimulus. Your body doesn't have anything to process. So it's going to drop you into that state. That's where you begin to program. You program in theta. So when you're in the mirror and you're just repeating affirmation, your body's like, yeah, right. But when you're in the theta meditative state, that's when you start to reprogram yourself. That's when you have access to the conscious computer, in my estimation. And again, that's still how do you quantify that? You know, I can say though that I've been through some things in business the last few years, and floating, man, that saved my life. Like in terms of just being able to press forward and keep going. I used to pump $6,000 a month into Inception. I don't have $6,000 a month to pump into it. How do I do that? I have no idea. I just went and did it because I needed to do it. But one thing that kept me resilient is going into the stress response and coming out of it. Our problem is we go into the stress response and we stay stuck into it. So now when the next stressor comes, we don't have resiliency no more. Black people are some of the most resilient, if not the most. I'm talking about black people from America, the most resilient people on this planet. That's why if you look, why everybody love our stuff? Because we're so resourceful with our resiliency too. A lot of stuff that you see we do, we took from somebody else. We didn't own no Coogee. We didn't own no Cartier. We didn't own, no, we took that stuff and made it for ourselves. Look at all the patents that black people made back then. Why? Because we were trying to make our job easier. We think invented a rake. Well, who was doing the raking? You know what I'm saying? Like, who was doing the raking? So if I got to make my job easier, let me just go do this. And they say, okay, well, shoot, we can take that, put that patent on that. Right? But again, the mind, to basically condition it, you can go in the mirror and you can repeat affirmations, but that's like throwing seeds on the concrete. You hope one gonna hit the dirt. You know?
Damn. Hey, man, well, I appreciate you coming on this episode, David, man. I really appreciate this. Like, all the conversations we have is powerful, man. I was about to say that float tank, it did it for me as well, but my thing was a little different. I got in that float tank, I started getting paranoid and stuff. Man, where's that FBI agent watching me?
Yeah.
He was like, hey, man, you go a little crazy. It took me about 5 minutes to chill out. I was like, oh my God, somebody's watching me. It's so dark in here, bro. Somebody's in here watching me. And then I had to calm down.
So you notice, where was all those emotions and feelings coming from?
I don't know.
You do know. You know where they came from? From you. They came from the inside of you. You were in a room by yourself. Who was in there with you? So really, what were you afraid of? You were afraid of going within and hearing all the garbage you need to pour out. That's why I tell people who kind of opt out of floating, they come in because we know we got our circuit. I'm going to do Magnosphere, I'm going to do brain training, then I'm going to opt out of floating. You're doing yourself a disservice. I got so comfortable in the nothingness and in the darkness. Bro, you can't tell me nothing because I'm at peace with myself, man. And I'm at peace with my thoughts that come up. When you get in there in the first time, since there's no sensory input, guess what? Now, where's the FBI? And where's that? Because that's always in you. And that's why you end up with anxiety because you're not addressing what's in there.
Hey, tell them where they can find you. We're going to tag you below, but tell them where they can find you.
IG at Mr. David McCullar, MCCULLAR, Inception at I_am_Inception. You can find us on the web at inceptionep.com. Inner Wealth Podcast, Earn Your Leisure, YouTube, and all major streaming platforms.
I'm going to have all that in the description, all the tags in the description below, man. We appreciate y'all tuning into this episode of Breaking the Machine. Make sure y'all tune in next week for another episode. More powerful stuff on the way. David McCullar, Breaking the Machine, Inner Wealth. You dig? We out.